So we're going to go ahead and start. And today's flow is designed to be pretty like mellow paced. And I did say mellow pace, not necessarily mellow, because the intensity that you put into it is what you put into it. You have these opportunities to maybe do a little bit more, wiggle around, explore. But ultimately, you are the one, this is your practice. So use the time to do what you need to do, what you want to do. And with that, we're going to start in child's pose. You have the option to do whatever variation you feel called to do to start out today, whether the knees are wide, going towards the long edges of your mat, big toes coming back to touch, arms forward, reaching out, maybe resting on the forearms, head dropping. If you feel called to rock back and forth, again, just kind of explore around a little bit. Feel into what feels good. Getting the wiggles out. We'll spend several breaths here, just letting go of the day up until thus far, to becoming present, to becoming here, now. Be here, now. Always welcome to use your breath as that conduit to help you release with that audible exhale. Maybe a slight constriction in the back of your throat. Doing this yogic breath as we breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Ujjayi, ocean-like noise. And then staying low, slowly begin to walk your hands over towards the right. Really leading with that left arm. Those left fingers walk out, finding the extension down your arm, through the armpit and the whole left side body. Maybe exploring what it feels like to have your palm anchored onto the earth, and then tenting the hand, just the fingertips. Maybe that gives you a little bit extra stretch. Maybe it doesn't feel good, and that's okay. Don't do it. About 2 more steady breaths here. And then slowly, mindfully, carefully staying low, walk across to your left side, leading with those right fingertips, walking out, finding that edge. Lengthen the right side body. And again, maybe playing with the palm lifting up, fingertips pressing into the earth, and then releasing if you feel called to it. Two more breaths. Breathing into the sensation, the stretch, the length, the connection. And slowly come back to center. Hips raise up from your knees. And then walk the arms out for puppy dog pose. So the chest begins to lower down. Again, you can keep the knees wide. If you want, maybe knees underneath the hips. Allowing the chest to drop, maybe even the chin to drop. Following the breath for 3, for 2. On 1, transition to Sphinx pose, shifting the weight forward, keeping the arms anchored into the earth. Hips connect to the ground, toes point back behind. And if you feel called to, you can take your toes wide so they go to the edges of the mat and see how that feels, that anchoring of the hip. Chest is raised, collarbones are shining forward, belly drawing up and away. Elbows underneath the shoulders. You can stay here, or if you feel called to, maybe pressing firmly to the tops of the feet into the earth, rounding the back as though you're doing cat pose, and drawing the core in, the belly up towards the spine, very subtle but strong engagement. The hips lift up. And play around, relaxing, maybe engaging the core, pressing into the earth, legs strong, legs strong. Again, your practice. Maybe one more. Engagement of the core. And coming down to relax. Elbows go wide, crocodile pose. Wag the hips left and right, left and right. And then right arm comes out to your side, making that T shape, rolling onto our right hip. Finding a stretch into the right shoulder. Maybe the feet stack atop one another. Maybe the head even comes down to a block or the earth. Left foot has the option to stomp behind the right knee. And feeling into the sensation. You may even be called to raise that left arm up towards the sky and maybe explore around this kind of range of motion to find how that influences the stretch in your shoulder. And maybe there's one area that's particularly interesting that feels good to linger around in. And if it does, stay there. Steady breath for 5. Soften the shoulder for 4. Breathing in 3. Last 2. And 1. Slowly return that left arm if it's lifted. Coming back on to your belly. And switching over to our left side. So left arm extends out, rolling onto the left hip. And again, whatever variation feels right for you. Maybe the head's resting atop a block, the earth. Maybe this is intense enough for you. Stay here using your right hand to kind of prop you, or right foot stomping behind, right arm, is up. And exploring around maybe this circle-like motion till you find some place that feels right for you. And maybe you aren't static and you keep a movement with you, or you just linger and breathe into it. Sometimes I think about it like cleaning the house, and there's some corners that just tend to get dusty, and taking the time to clean behind the bookshelf, right? Couple more breaths. Last two. And one. If that right arm's lifted, go ahead and bring it back down to the earth. Again, rolling onto the belly. Take oscillating cobra. Arms come out to about 10 and 2. Fingertips anchor into the earth. Big inhale. The chest raises up. Hips anchoring into the ground. Follow your breath as you exhale your way down. Again, inhale, chest rises. And then you exhale back down. Continue on your own for 3 more waves. 3 more ripples of your spine. And after you finish that last one, bring your hands underneath your shoulders as though you're setting up for like a cobra pose. And this time we're going to roll onto the right hip like we did when we stretched the shoulder. Left foot plants behind and we push ourselves up. We'll keep it fluid, so push as much as it feels right for you before returning back to the earth. And then switching sides, rolling onto our left hip, pressing ourselves up. Maybe a hand lifts. Back down. Finding a fluidity and movement and maybe coming all the way up. Hands off the earth. Back down. Left hip. Press yourself. Use your arm strength. Back down. One more each side, pressing up, up, up. And this time, as we roll onto our right hip, we press ourselves up all the way. And then the left knee drops out, and we find ourselves with the left sole of our foot onto our inner right thigh. You might be off your mat a little bit, and if that's uncomfortable for you, you can shimmy back on, but otherwise, take this space, take this moment to explore someplace new. As you forward fold down, reaching for your right shin. Right toes, reaching back for the nose. Last 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come out from that forward fold. Hands plant, right hand, left hand, back onto your belly. Rolling onto the right hip, pressing yourself up, arm strength. And right foot, left inner thigh, forward folding out over that left leg. Always the option to use a strap if that feels good. Keeping the spine long, or if it just feels good to surrender into it, go ahead. What do you need today? Keep a steadiness of breath. For 5, 4, last 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come back up. See where you're going to plant your hands. Plant your hands, roll onto the belly. Come on back up. And this time when you come up, we're going to keep that left foot planted. So the knees pointing up. So left knees pointing up, right legs extended out. And seeing if we can stay inside the leg. You might want to shimmy it out a little bit. And then forward fold. Here you do have the option to take a bind as the left arm reaches back behind the leg. Right arm, back of the hand comes to the back of your back. And maybe just take a moment to settle into the new perspective, where so often we aren't facing the opposite side of our mat. Maybe notice any feelings of discomfort that come with it when we rattle our human conditioning. Not with judgment, but just discernment. Coming back up, back to our bellies, rolling over to our left hip, pressing ourselves up. Right sole of the foot plants onto the ground. Knee stays bent as we reach out for that left extended leg. Again, the option to take a bind if that's in your practice. Right arm reaching back around the bent chin. Left arm going to aim to clasp the right hand. Last 3. Doing great for 2. And 1. Very nice. Roll on down to your belly. Hands plant underneath the shoulders, point the toes. Come on up for baby cobra. And back down. Inhale. Come up cobra, look out over the right shoulder. And back down. Inhale up. Left shoulder. Back down. Inhale up, right ear, right shoulder. And back down. And coming up. Left ear, left shoulder. Back down. Find your way to child's pose. Nice and easy. Stretching the back. And really breathing into the back ribs. Or any areas that are speaking to you right now. And tabletop pose. Feel free to take extra blankets underneath your knees, or you have the option to do a little extra core engagement and lift the knees off the mat. That'll take some pressure off the knees. Inhale through our cow pose, dropping the belly, lifting the chin, lifting the tail, and rounding the back. Really pressing into the earth, shoulder blades protracting away from each other. Your dance, your pose through your cows and cats. At any time, taking a little bit of mobility if that feels good. Maybe allowing the hip to wag, entering in some circles, some barrel rolls. Follow the intuitive motion of what your body needs when it's on all fours, such as this. Maybe even playing with the finger placement, the hand placement, switching directions. Fingers can point towards the long edges of the mat. And then moving around side to side. Maybe continuing to rotate the wrists, so now that fingers point towards the knees. Almost like you're pawing at the mat as you shift your weight left and right. And then back to a neutral. We'll shift the weight back slightly. We take the weight off of our hands, and then the wrists bend, the fingers draw towards our body, and then come back down. So you kind of lift up slightly, fingers come in towards your body, and then back down. Do this a few times, if it feels good for you. For 3, for 2. Last one, very nice. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes. Hips raise up towards the sky. Pedal out the feet. First downward dog of the day. Maybe take it a little bit wider. Again, finding just this flow, this movement, bending one knee, alternating to the next. And then walking your hands towards your body, about 1 handprint or so. Take the left hand and reach towards that right ankle if that feels okay. And back to the front. Right hand, left ankle. Tail raising up towards the sky. Right hand returns. Deep bend in the knees. Hands walk all the way back to your feet. And find yourself in a forward fold. Maybe ragdoll left and right. Clasping opposite elbow and opposite hand. Shaking the head up and down, yes or no. Or maybe. And then come to a point of stillness. Deep bend in the knees. Allow the arms to drop and be super heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. The shoulders are slinking down. They're melting off your body. And slowly unfurl. Coming up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Chin stays anchored into the chest. Until you come up to Tadasana, standing pose. Again, allowing the shoulders to melt down away from the ears, connecting to our breath. After a lot of time in an inversion, maybe just feeling the sensations that you feel as the blood flows. And then slightly shifting the weight onto the left leg. Like we're a marionette. We've got this pendulum, a string hanging from our head. And then we also have a string attaching our leg to each one of our hands. And you lift one hand, the same leg lifts up. You place it down, stepping forward. And then opposite leg, opposite hand lifts up and down. And go on your own. Maybe even looking forward, trusting that the mat's there, trusting you're going to walk in a straight line till you come to the front of the mat. And both feet come side by side to Tadasana. And then coming back, it's as though we have the string now anchoring to the backs of our thighs. And then the right leg comes back, the right arm comes back, stays straight, and comes back down. And then left leg, back, and down. We'll do 2 laps total through this, so whatever pace feels right for you. Maybe lingering a little bit extra longer, holding the string up, and any time if it feels particularly yummy. Finding this engagement as the thighs kind of draw in towards one another. And then front again, right? So same hand, same leg lift. This one's also a pretty fun one to do if you have a block and you place a block on your head. I think for the sake of fun, we're going to do an extra lap. And if you have your blocks at the front, maybe go ahead and have one staged back behind you. Yeah. If you have a yoga bun, also, like that could be an issue. So if you're at the front of the mat, we still need to work our way back. Maybe starting with the opposite leg and really finding that engagement, right? Strong, straight legs as they reach back. Playing with our balance. And that pendulum holding us straight. Grab your block. If you feel called to do it, remember this is your practice, and maybe just balancing in Tadasana with your block is where you're at today. Or if you're feeling adventurous and called to, finding that straightness, looking out that point of drishti as we march our way forward. Cool, calm, collected, and balanced. And maybe all the way back. Again, what are you called to do? And if it tumbles and it falls, like that is okay. This is a practice. See, I have the pressure of YouTube. That's my motivation for not dropping it. And all y'all. Very nice. And then stepping into pyramid pose. So if you want to continue this dance, this march, you can. Otherwise, inhale, we take the right knee up, step it forward maybe about 2.5 feet or so, and then hinge at the hips. Chest leads forward, the legs are towards straight, and you slowly come down. Maybe you have your blocks helping you out here, finding a big stretch in that right side leg particularly. Lingering, breathing into it. Drawing the right hip crease back, back, back to keep the hips square. Three more breaths. And then begin to bend the left knee. Right toes come up towards your face. Hands come to the left thigh. Finding this engagement in our hamstring, our right calf. Again, chest is forward. For 3, 2, on 1, coming back up. Then lifting that left knee, stomping it down ever so delicately, hinging into our pyramid pose on the opposite leg. Left hip crease drawing back, 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 finding a straight back. Again, maybe using props such as blocks to help us out here. Taking as wide of a stance as you need. If you find yourself wavering, hands could also be resting on your left shin. And again, it's your variation of straight for that, particularly that front leg. If you have a tendency to hyperextend, I encourage you to keep a bend for another 2. On 1, bend into the right knee. Left toes come up towards your face. Hands come to your right thigh. Sinking the hips back. Very nice. Last 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. Right knee draws up. And this time clasping our fingers around the shin. If you feel called to, you can also use a wall for support. But if you can, really think about driving your knee into your hands and think about cat pose. We want that sensation in your back. You should feel a good stretch in your shoulders here. So it's more work in your shoulders than it is actually the leg. For 3, for 2, and 1. Step down. 1 more step forward. Same thing with our left leg this time. So left knee raises, fingers clasp around that left shin. Find that point of steadiness. Drawing the belly in, rounding the back. Shin pressing into our clasped hands. Stretching the back, the shoulders. For 3. Last 2. On 1, stomp the left foot down next to the right. Arms reach up towards the sky. Big inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Cactus the arms back. All the way down into a forward fold. Deep bend in the knees. Roll your way up. We'll be doing 3 of those. Shoulders settle. And then inhale, arms reach up. On your exhale, bend the knees, cactus the arms out to the side. Bending and sinking until finally you undulate down. Maybe find an extension in the legs. And then bend, roll your way back up. Arms reach out and up. Stretch the back, bend the knees, cactus the arms. Chest is forward, heart is open. Sinking down, 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 almost making this W-like shape. Forward fold. Deep bend in the knees. Slowly roll your way. Up, up, up. To standing. Right foot steps to the back of the mat. Left toes pivot. So now our feet are parallel, facing the long edge of the mat. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, cactus them down to goddess pose. So sinking deep. And you may want to play with what foot placement feels good for you. Maybe having them more straight feels good. Maybe point it to the corners of the mat. Or maybe even completely heels saying hello to each other. So we cactus the elbows down. Goddess pose, like tuck of the tail. And up, 5-star. And down, goddess pose. And continue on your own. We're going to do 10 of these. So really feel into your breath. Feel the sensations in your thighs, and your groin, and your legs, and all 4 corners of your feet as you anchor, activate. Breathing in your breath, your body. And think about that block on your head, keeping the steadiness in your pose. 2 more. Feel the burn, feel the heat you create. And back up to standing. Arms reach behind your back, clasping your fingers if you can. And then forward fold. Leading with the heart. Head drops down. And allowing the knuckles and arms to go whatever feels good. Sometimes it feels good to even take a little bend in the elbows, making almost like a C shape. Help creating a little extra stretch or a different type of sensation. Nodding the head up and down, shaking it left to right. Then release the clasp. Allow the left hand to plant under your face, center of the mat, but forward. Perhaps on a block. And then right arm reaches up towards the sky. The shoulders stacked. Exhale, back down. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Coming back down. Right arm up. Your flow, your breath. We'll be doing one more each side after you finish that set. Again, gaze whatever feels good for you and your neck. And take a bend into the right knee. Hands may come up top of the thigh. And then pivoting onto the heel of that left foot, sinking the hips back. Sink them back. Maybe arms even come forward as the hips sink back. Imaginary arms that you're holding that's holding you up. For 3. For 2. On 1, straighten it all out. Maybe get some wiggles. And then left side. So find a bend into the left knee, pivoting onto the heel of the right foot. And then maybe this is good. And you stay up here. Or hands release, reach forward, pull those hips back. Hips go back, arms forward, hips back, arms forward. For 5. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it all up towards the sky. And bend into the right knee, coming down. Again, maybe one of those variations, or maybe you feel called to come all the way down, hands giving you some support, walking maybe the left heel out, Skandasana. What feels good for you today, and understanding wherever you are on the journey is just fine. If you are down low, maybe seeing if you can not use your hands at first to try to get up, and then maybe using the hands. Left side. Giving you options. You never know. Then maybe you stay up and just finding a little bounce and sensation feels good. Or coming down low. Finding that opening. For another 5. For 4. 3. 2. And 1. Again, your journey up. Heel toe. Bring it on in, and step to the front of your mat. Very nice. Arms reach up above, left hand clasps the right wrist, right foot steps behind the left. Finding a little extension in that right side body. If that doesn't feel good, you can just keep them side by side. and back up. Switching, right hand clasps the left wrist this time. And then left foot comes by, a little curtsy as we reach over towards the right side, the back side of our mat. Or, yeah, the right side. Finding that length in the left side body. For 2. And 1. Bring it back in. And forward fold. Again, maybe finding a little bit of movement here, a little bit of motion. Heel toe, the feet out wide. Maybe so much that even the toes are hanging out off your mat. And then sink the hips down. Down, down, down. Maybe all the way into Malasana. Maybe you're not there. Maybe you've got a block that you say seated on. What feels good for you? Left arm anchors onto the ground. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Bring it on back down. Switching sides. Left arm up. Switch. And one more time. Left arm up towards the sky. Coming back down. Maybe hands allow to come behind you. Sit yourself back about halfway on your mat. Legs are still wide, so we're in this bear seat. Inhale, chest comes forward. Rounding your back. On your own. Hanging out. Maybe it feels good to just stay and breathe into the cow type pose here. Just feeling the sense of openness. Or maybe you want to hang out, curled, chin to the chest, back rounded. Linger where it feels good for you, or follow your breath. And then place the hands back behind you. Walk the feet in. Fingertips come towards our hips. Well, they point towards the hips or point towards your heels, however you want to look at it, setting up for reverse tabletop pose. You can stay here or play with lifting the hips up, maybe just a little bit. Or maybe you can come into the full expression, really thinking about the engagement and the hip bones. The hip bones draw up, up, up. For 3. Inner thighs drawing in 2. Last one, bring it on down. Very nice. Rolling onto your back. Hugging those knees in. Massaging the back. Up and down, left and right. What feels good? You may cross the right leg over the left. So knees are stacked on top of each other-ish. Maybe you have that range of motion, maybe you don't. You can stay at whatever cross feels okay for you. And then the option to grab for our feet, for our reclined eagle's legs. No, cow face pose, sorry. For another 3. For 2. On 1, slowly release into reclined pigeon pose. So maybe allowing that left foot to come down to the earth first, seeing that figure 4, allowing the right ankle to slide on top of the left thigh, And then with deep, long breaths. Intuitive and right. Another 5. Last 3. Allow the sole of the foot to come down, switching our crosses of the legs. So maybe you just enter in to this reclined pigeon on the right side, or first starting out with our reclined cow face pose. So the thighs cross. The left thigh crosses on top of the right thigh. Knees attempt to stack atop one another. And maybe you can reach up and grab the pinky toe edge of each foot or the shins and draw them in and up towards your body. And really exploring the sensation. This pose reminds me of when I have my feet grabbed, like I'm on a ATV or something, or dirt bike or bicycle. Let's keep it real, it's a bicycle. And then coming into reclined pigeon, if you are in the other variation. So threading the left hand through that figure 4 type shape. The left ankle's on top of the right thigh. And feeling your breath, following your breath. Allowing your body to soften, to loosen, to lengthen. And being kind in the process. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly allow it all to come back down. Take both legs out straight. Arms reach up above you. Big, 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 big stretch. And then draw the left knee in. Give it a little hug. And then allow the left knee to drive over into a twist towards the left side of our mat. Arms may be out, field goal position, maybe out to a T, or maybe just the right arm goes out to the T, and the left arm comes to rest on top of the bent leg. If this is too intense, take both knees up at the same time, and then allow them to flop over to the left. Several options here, whatever variation of this twist feels good for you. And maybe even having a blanket or a block underneath your knee can feel particularly supportive and nurturing. Or maybe the knee comes down, the right shoulder lifts up, and that's okay too. Wringing out anything that does not serve you today. beckoning the wandering mind to come back to the breath. Maybe a coolness on the inhale through the nostrils. Maybe a little bit of warmth on the exhale. Return back onto your back. Extend that right leg out. Again, big stretch. Arms reach up above. Maybe even hooking your thumbs. Creating this W-type shape of butterfly above your head. And then left knee drawing in towards your chest. Give it a hug. And then allow it to drop over towards your right side. Again, whatever variation with the arms felt good for you, whatever variation with the legs. Ringing out on this side. Anything that's been stagnant in your body, or any emotions. Encouraging movement of our digestive system also. Maybe repeating the mantra, be here now, as a little reminder that you're still here, taking care of yourself as you deserve. One more big breath to let go before entering our final Shavasana. You may wish to just from this pose curl into a side Shavasana and stay here. Or if you feel called for a more traditional one, come onto your back. Extend the legs out to the base of your mat. Palms up towards the sky. Then lift the right leg. Point the toes. Activate the entire leg. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze all the muscles. And then let it release. Relax. Left leg, just an inch or two, lifting it up, squeezing, engaging all the muscles, pointing your toes. And the calf and the thigh and the quad. And then allow it to relax. Right hand, right arm lifts up, making a fist, clenching it, feeling this engagement in the forearm and the bicep and the tricep. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then allow it to melt down. Uncurl the fingers. Left hand, left arm, 1 to 2 inches off, and give it a squeeze, a pump. Feel the blood flowing. Feel it engage, engage, engage. And permission to relax. Face, eyes squinch in, furrow those eyebrows, scrunch that nose, purse those lips. You just had something super sour. Bring it all in, all in, all. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then soften. Soften the eyes. Unfurrow the brows. Relax the cheeks, the jaw. Unclench the teeth. Allow the tongue to drop from the roof of the mouth. Back of the neck's heavy, the throat, both your shoulders heavy into the earth, the arms draping down below. Feel the chest rise on your inhale. As you exhale, allow it to sink down deep, deep, deep. Inhaling in like an ocean wave. On the exhale, the hips become heavy and the glutes as they fall deeper into the earth. And the legs dangle beneath. Be here now. Follow the breath in and out. In and out. And arrive back. Wiggle your toes and fingers. Begin to liven the body. Allowing the corners of the lips to curl up. Gentle smile. And then rolling onto one side as you feel called. Taking a few moments here for you. When you're ready, slowly come on back up. Allow the right ear to drop towards the right shoulder. And then up. Left ear, left shoulder. And back to center. Please join me in 3 closing, cleansing breaths. Anything else you need to let go of it now. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Audible exhale through the mouth. Inhale, release. and out. I want to thank you all for joining me on today's yoga journey. Namaste.